Oh. Oh. Nah. 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 Ah. So last week I did 315 for 3. I wasn't exactly confident I could get another rep, but I still wanted to progressively overload and do more. So instead of going for that 4th rep and probably failing, barely got that 3rd rep. I did 320. I only added 2.5 to each side, and I got 3. So that's just another way to progressively overload. Going from 3 reps to 4 reps is a huge jump, but adding 2.5s is still a significant jump, but it's not nearly as big as doing a whole other rep. It's just, there's multiple ways to progressively overload. And if you just keep doing this every week, adding 2.5 to each side, or even adding 1 pound to each side, in a few weeks, if I were to take those off and do 315, I'm willing to bet I'd be able to get that 4th rep, maybe even the 5th rep. So just because you can't get that 1 extra rep, especially when you're in the 3 to 5 rep range, doesn't mean there's not other ways to progressively overload. Also, it's been brought to my attention, thank you very much, that I say a lot. So I've stopped and started recording like 3 of these videos. So every time I hear myself say I get pissed. Maybe that's helping me, fuck, there it is again. Maybe that's helping me lift the weight. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, oh, dude, you're lifting too heavy for hypertrophy. Yeah, maybe that's true. But I think there's a lot to be said about throwing some heavy weight around. Being big and lifting hypertrophy is cool, but you know what else is cool? Shoulder pressing 320 pounds more than once. Feels awesome. Highly recommend it. But I think there is something to be said about, for example, I know people that say, hey, never go above 25 pounds on bicep curl. Just chase the pump, really feel the contraction, get that mind-muscle connection. But they're doing 25s for like a year, and they never do more than like 15 or 20 reps. And if they're always doing the same thing, the body has no reason to adapt, to get bigger, to get stronger. And that's kind of the point. So yeah, maybe going heavy isn't always the right answer, but staying and giving yourself a limit and only doing that forever is also not the right answer. Anyway, all right. Oh. Oh, man, it is insane how heavy those 2.5 pound weights are. And another example of progressive overload is, for example, someone that doesn't lift, someone that doesn't do anything. The biggest jump they will ever make is going from nothing to literally anything. That's why you see all of these newbie gains, like the first 6-8 months, you make amazing, incredible gains. Something that everyone else is like super jealous of, especially if you've been in the gym for a long time. But why does that happen? Because you're going from the least amount you could possibly do, taking the biggest jump you'll ever make, and doing literally anything. So how does that translate to someone that's already been in the gym for a while? For example, going back on the bicep curl, if they're doing, 25 pounds forever and never doing more, you're not giving the body a reason to adapt to change. But for example, if one day you were to jump from 25 pounds to 50 pounds, that's double the resistance. That's going to be a huge shock to the system. That's going to give the body a stimulus to adapt to. You got to give it something that's difficult, that's going to and even past failure for your body to have a reason to adapt. Speaking of giving your body a reason to adapt, let's try not to be a bitch here. Cool. Oh. Oh, come on. Oh. Speaking of being stuck at a weight for a really long time, I've been stuck at 225 here for I don't even know how long. The reason for that is I feel like I could go heavier, yeah. But knowing me and especially my low back, if I start to go any heavier, I'm going to start to cheat a little bit and start to use my low back. And even though it's just standing upright rows, if I go heavier than this, I always notice my back is even worse the next day. So I'm trying to limit myself to only 225 and just trying to do a little bit more reps. But that being said, I've been on this program for 12 weeks now, and that's getting towards the top end of what I'd like to do. After about 12 weeks, especially of 12 weeks of progressively overloading, it gets to be a little ridiculous. So I think it's about time to rethink redoing my program. But that's not today, so we'll keep going. I used to really like doing this for Olympics, but kind of realizing, well, not realizing, I already knew that there are obviously better movements for rear shoulder, and this is mostly traps. So that'll be something to think about for when I redesign this program. When I hit rear shoulders, really more than traps anyway. All right, dropping the weight way down here, 135. Just going until I can't, or form breaks down so badly that it turns basically into just a shrug. Oh. This is one of those movements that's super easy to cheat on, either by swinging a little bit or coming down and bouncing or just throwing it up and letting it fall down. So even though I'm going questionably heavy, probably slightly too heavy, I am taking a pause down here so I'm not bouncing. And then on the way down, at least I'm trying to control it a little bit. This is one of those things where where if you stick with, 25s, I could do perfect form and, control it all the way up, squeeze, control it all the way down. But at some point, you got to push past that. And that's kind of what I mean, where I'm on week 12 of this program and I've been doing that. I've been progressing, purposely adding weight. And I think I'm getting to a point where if I go any heavier, I'm not actually getting any better results. It's just my form is degrading. So that's one of the reasons with progressive overload, about every 10 to 12 weeks, you need to take a deload week, reset, and kind of start over. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I think I've starting to reach a point where getting a little bit too heavy. So even though it's fun, I need to, take a step back and realize that heavier isn't always better, but that doesn't mean stay at 25 pounds your whole life. I don't remember the last time I ran the rack on anything. So let's do, how much was that? It was 50. Shit. Every 5 pounds, every 10 pounds. Let's go every 5 pounds. Whew, with basically no rest. Oh man, immediately regretting this decision. Oh man. 20s. Never felt so heavy. Honey, 15. Oh. All right, this will be the last movement today. One more thing for rear shoulders. Oh. I really like these because you can get a ridiculous stretch, and the resistance is the same the whole way throughout the entire range of motion. Oh man.